Okay, so here is the problem. If I can show this. So just to give some more context as to what we're looking at here, this is the bottom of the shock. So you've got the shock linkage to this, I forget what Suzuki call this link here, and you've got the dog bone running up here which connects it to the swinging arm, and you've got three sets of bushes, one in each link. Here's where it bolts onto the frame, here's the bottom of the shock, and this is the connector through to the swinging arm. Now I've got the bike up on stands because somehow I seem to have forgotten to pick up the centre stand when I got the bike. Might need to have to find myself one, and because obviously without that it makes jobs like this a little bit more awkward, but no big issue. So job for today is to remove this, and which I'm not really going to video because it's just me unbolting bolts, and then have a look at the bushes. So here's the exploded diagram of the parts. So here's the bush in question that is likely to be causing the problem. We've got the dog bones either side. We've got the bottom of the shock bolts into the back of this thread. It's the cushion lever, that's what I was thinking. I knew it began with C but couldn't quite think what it was, with the dog bones on, and then this is the part here, and it's you know, it's the usual question of bearing removal and checking. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so here is the cushion lever. I think I really should make a practice of cleaning stuff before I try taking it off the bike, because you know, it makes the job so much nicer. Anyway, I had a little bit of difficulty getting this off because this nut here did not want to shift. These nuts were all Loctite on by the look of it. This one didn't want to play at all, and as you can see, if this thing would ever focus, let's see if we can. Yeah, I've rounded that nut off really nicely. I'm not sure if that was a nylock, I don't think it was. Now my impact driver couldn't shift this, nothing would shift this until I left it to soak overnight with some penetrating fluid, which has managed to penetrate those front threads there. Got the white of the lock nut tight at the back, and then the thread is there. Now, looking at the bike, it did look like this is really shit at focusing this morning. There we go. I thought it was this centre one that was the main culprit. But and if I can get this here to not rock, almost impossible with one hand. Yeah, there's definitely play there. Now I need to check whether or not it's the bolt or the sleeve. However, the one thing that did become immediately obvious was that this one here is absolutely shot. There we go, that's one of the needle bearings. See why it's not focusing this morning. Anyway, so that's one of the needle bearings, and it's rusty as hell. And this is, it's got grooves in it. I can feel with my fingers. That bit of sleeve is completely shot. That bearing is completely shot, I think. Yeah, so really not liking. This one feels better. It's greasy. I need to check it for play, but otherwise it looks okay. So I need at least one nut for that one. Let's mix them up now. I need to probably drift this out because that doesn't want to come out, and then check if those bearings, but losing my needles. I'm wondering whether or not it would be better simply to get a new one of these from the breakers. I have my doubts that by the time as you can see, even this one, even though it's greasy, those needle rollers are rusty. You can see that the rust marks on there. It's still nice and smooth. It's probably shit. No, it would be if I didn't drop it. So as you can see, they're a little bit rusty in there. Probably savable. But with this bearing, this needs new bearings and maybe a new sleeve. I'm going to check and see if I can find some part numbers for these, but frankly I suspect that a new cushion lever might be the cheaper option, and if it's not the cheaper option, it'll certainly be the quicker option. So we'll see. That's that. Let's see how we go. Might even focus. There we go. Okay, so next step is just to check where we've got down here. This seems to be okay. Strange that this is a threaded section, seems to actually be inside there. It's a little bit of free play in the bottom of that, but nothing major. However, from that first video, the free play that was in the back end is largely in here, and as you can really see, there's a little bit of side to side motion there. That's got to be a good ½ mil, and that's probably about, if we can see it, there is probably a good, in the direction of play when this is operating, there's a good mil, I reckon, of clearance down there. Now I don't know what the actual spec of these is supposed to be, but I'm guessing that's not right. And certainly this is, when I was testing it, this is definitely the free play that was and it was this is the free play that was picked up in the MOT, and it's because it looks like that the end of this cushion rod, dog bone, whatever you want to call it, has overlised with wear, so it looks like I need a new set of those as well. So I bought another cushion lever with the cushion rods, dog bones, whatever you like to call them, on the off chance that it might all be okay. As it happens, looks like it has a new bearing on this side. This one seems okay, but I haven't taken the dog bones off yet. But that same bearing is shot on this one too. Probably not really going to get. See if we can ever get this thing to focus in here.
Yeah, so as you can see, you can't really see in there, but well, there you go. It's not exactly fantastic in there. Might grease up, might work a bit, but frankly, it's close enough to shot to being dead. The sleeve is rusty. I should have checked that. I've ordered a bearing, but I forgot to check this before I did so. So I probably need to order one of these too. Well, that's a pain. I hadn't realised it was sun. It was like that, but with a bit of luck these will be alright. I haven't checked them fully, but they certainly look a lot better condition than the others, which are definitely overlised. What is it with this focusing? Right, so this end looks okay. This end, however, I'm not sure what it shows. There you go, at the bottom and on the side there, it's quite overlised, and I'm quite convinced that nearly all of the play you could see in the suspension was actually these being worn. So they look about the same as these. So at least I'll have that. So new bearing on order. So turns out that these two cushion levers are not the same. Now they're clean. It's not totally unsurprising. This is mine. This is the one I bought. It's actually for a Mark II Bandit, hence the difference. The bearings are all the same. Dimensions are slightly different. I imagine it would work, but since this bearing on the new one is shot anyway, it's a bit rusty in there, and these are okay, I think, these ones. This one looks like it's new, to be honest. So I would need one bearing for this one, but I decided, since it seems to be bearing time for me, that I'd have a bit of practice putting bearings in and out, because it's been a little while. So I bought new bearings, and I bought all the new bearings, which is quite expensive. I'm sure if I went to a bearing shop I could have got them cheaper, but unfortunately, since I can't just nip round to a bearing supplier because there aren't anywhere near I work, it means I had to send off. That meant I probably paid more than I needed to, but you know, job needs doing. So I've pulled out that one and that one. That one was hard work. This one, you really need a blind bearing puller, because as you can see there's a seat in there, in the middle. Well, they don't go in that far. I can't really see on here. They don't actually go in all the way. There we go. You can just see where there's an inner seat, and then you've got this sleeve through the middle, which is the same width as the spacer that goes in there. And as you can see, you probably could get in there and punch that out, but it'd be quite hard work. So I used a puller, but it did mean warming this up a bit so they came out, because it didn't want to work. And given I've only got a cheap blind bearing puller, I'd already damaged it a bit trying to get this one out. So heat's the way to go. So I've got this one to pull out, this one to pull out. Then I've got the new bearings to go in. I bought two new spacers as well, because I'm not entirely... Both of these are fucked. This one is big time. Look at that. These probably usable, but there's some, you know, there you got that one's got some pitting on it. This one was Well, again, I can't actually quite feel them, but it's worn through the chrome, and there is just a little bit of scarring here and there on them. Not entirely sure I trusted it, so new one of those. And I'm hoping that this one is actually this spacer is okay. If it's not when I've got the new bearings in, I'll have to get one of these as well. The other one, well, I think that says it all really. Now, looking in the manual, there's nothing specific about these, which is probably why they get neglected. Lack of autofocus is annoying me. As I say, rear suspension, according to the manual, every 7,500 miles is supposed to be inspected. And I'm guessing that that's generally what people do. I think what they mean by inspection is take this off and check whether or not the bearings need lubricating and aren't all seized and rusty like these. So I'm thinking that this is something you actually need to take apart, take off the bike and actually inspect the bearings. To be fair, I probably wouldn't have even realised there were bearings in these because I'm more of a twin shock man. I've had very few monoshocks on my bikes, and therefore this whole fancy linkage thingy with its bearings is a bit of a mystery to me. Well, it's not a mystery, but it's just something I'm not used to. Okay, so bearings out. Right, bearings in. I remember to start the light here. All changed, greased, and spacers in, and ready to fit back on the bike. Okay, quick test ride. All looks okay. Nothing seems to have fallen off. None of the bolts have moved. So all is well. And on to the next task, which will be rear brake pads, because they're worn out. Okay, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys soon.